Welcome, friends. We're ready to start this party. Hello. According to New York's Office of Fire Prevention and Control, oxygen is not flammable, but it can cause other materials to burn, to ignite more easily, and to burn far more rapidly. The result is that fire involving oxygen can appear explosive-like. We are at the 2023 Lambda Pi Eta ceremony. This is an honors society for the Communication National Association, National Communication Association. I'm also a member. I'm a member of Lambda Pi Eta. My name is Courtney Atkins, and I represent the faculty of the Department of Communication, Media, and Journalism. And on behalf of our chair, Dr. Sargent, and the rest of my colleagues, we welcome you all, students, parents, friends, family, supporters. I bet you're wondering why I led this speech with fire. When pondering the achievements of our students here today, I wondered what separated them from their peers. Their fire to plan more effectively, their fire to learn more inquisitively, their fire to research, explore beyond the limits of potential, their fire to keep going when exhaustion sets in, when blackboard and canvas are having a meltdown, and one dares not dream of another works cited page. These students we are honoring here today are combusting with knowledge and desire, their honors rising like smoke to the very top. Communication itself is like a garden. The flowers require oxygen to grow, the light of curious professors pushing them along, catalysts bringing higher consciousness and crucial information. Today, we will hear from two honored speakers, both Lambda Pi Eta members, at the height of their success in the communication field. These speakers embody the spark of what higher education can create. And after our speakers, we will induct these fine students, and we will applause, stamp, and cheer. Our first speaker today, Dr. Joshua Guitar. He was welcomed by Kane in the fall of 2022 to serve as an assistant professor of communication. He teaches classes in rhetoric, critical media studies, and political communication. Employing both classical and critical methods of rhetorical inquiry to examine mediated political discourse, Dr. Guitar interrogates the rhetorical manifestations of ideology that inhibit democratic discourse, civil liberties, and political inequality, political equity. From what I learned about him this year, he likes to chow down. He always goes back for seconds at the rare meal that Kane offers us. He's a big lover of animals, especially basset hounds. He likes 70s furniture. He's a new father to Harper and a kind partner to his wife, Natalie. Dr. Guitar and his wife moved here from Michigan, and Michigan is where Josh earned a PhD in communication from Wayne State University. Dr. Guitar is featured in many communication journals like Critical Studies in Media Communication, amongst many other published works. I get the impression after reading Dr. Guitar's CV that he is a big fan of works cited pages, and that they probably find themselves floating in his good dreams. In 2021, Joshua published a book, Dissent, Discourse, and Democracy, whistleblowers as sites of political contestation with Lexington Books. His work has earned multiple awards, including the James Madison Prize for Outstanding Research in First Amendment Studies and the top paper from the political division of the NCA. Welcome, Joshua. Hashtag the Guitar Challenge, Dr. Guitar, Communication, Media, and Journalism at Keene is thrilled to welcome you as our faculty speaker today and to our CMJ home.
I love and hate these events because you teach public speaking your whole life and then you think about all your students critiquing you as you're up here, things that you told them that they did wrong. Pleasantries? Yeah, some people get that. Thank you, Professor Atkins, for the wonderful introduction. I'm honored to be here in front of you today, although I'm a bit skeptical because I feel like as the new guy, probably no one else wants to do this, and so they tagged me and said, "Oh, he won't say no." He won't say no. I am honored to be here. I will say these types of events can oftentimes bring about faculty grumbling, whether it's orientations or induction ceremonies or graduations. A lot of my colleagues over the years have expressed like, "Oh, we have to do this again," right? There's some monotony. There's these quirky kind of formalities that we engage in. There's a whole pomp and circumstance. And I haven't been doing this as long as some of my colleagues, but I can sometimes feel how these can be tired events for a lot of us. It's worth poking a little fun at ourselves for these overzealous things, the stoles and the plaques and the rounds of applause. But I like it. I especially like these types of momentous gatherings in part because I do think celebrations matter. College is hard. It's supposed to be. Right? Life is hard. You deserve to enjoy your achievements. So despite the quirkiness, these things do really matter. They're a moment to celebrate our fine students in our department. It's a little bit more than that for me, though. And I invite you all to look around you. I know it's a bit of a vacuous space, our large auditorium. But it's rare in life that you will be in such achieved company. In our midst here we have a variety of terminal degrees. We have MFAs, we've got EDs, we've got PhDs, JDs, I believe, yeah. As well as a strong crew of professors with MAs and decades of experience both in a professional setting and a professorial setting. We also have some former graduates, as well as new inductees to our organization, Lambda Pi Eta. We have representatives that span the entirety of our field, including filmmakers, media production specialists, health communication scholars, interpersonal communication scholars, and your quirky rhetorician. That's me. The plurality of our field makes us unlike anyone else in academia. Not only are we brilliant, we are philosophically diverse, which makes us better equipped than any other field to interrogate the most difficult questions of our society. Make no mistake, what I mean by this. You are in one of the smartest rooms you'll ever be in. I think there's something beautiful in that. I urge you to recognize this, celebrate this, and embrace it. Take advantage of it. It's rare that we get to be together with such brilliant minds in the same space. Moments like these remind me why I do what I do. Late nights, early mornings, that cursed, expletive, unrelenting pile of papers that needs graded, that never goes away, and that is my own doing. Like all of us in the room, despite my achievements, I regularly wonder if it all matters. All the work, all the time, all the stress, and if I can really make a difference. So Professor Atkins did give me a bit of a bio about me, but for those of you who don't know exactly what that means, and you've kind of stolen some of my lines, so forgive me for repeating. The classes I teach, the research I conduct, lean heavily toward the depressive. I interrogate the rhetorical manifestations that inhibit the actualization of democracy. In other words, I identify and illuminate where power inequities persist along identity lines like race, sex, gender, sexuality, and class. While my work is never partisan, detractors of critical inquiry often wonder in anger why my work feels so political. Well, these problematic ideologies restrict our cognizance without us knowing it in ways that make us complicit in the perpetuation of things like racism, sexism, ableism, and the like. In other words, they restrict our capacities to know. And knowing things, urging knowledge forward, this is our mission as academics. So to attain knowledge, we must address the barriers that restrict it. This is my work. Having been in higher education for nearly 2 decades doing this work, learning, teaching, researching, writing, I wonder if any progress has been made in my time as a scholar. There's a little humor, but there's also going to be a little heavy in this speech. In January of this year alone, at least 7 unarmed U.S. citizens were killed by police. Just last week, the Missouri House of Representatives voted to defund all public libraries in their state. In states like Texas, Tennessee, Idaho, Florida, books that discuss gender and sexuality are being removed from school shelves as concepts that challenge the status quo are becoming forbidden in public classrooms. These same states, ironically, as the loudest defenders of freedom, are racing to criminalize the teaching of academic theories that do nothing more than explain social phenomena. You can hate the name of something all you want. As academics who perform research, we know, for instance, that people of color are getting longer prison sentences than their white counterparts for the same crimes. It's empirical data. We know that job applicants with ethnic-sounding names get fewer calls for interviews, even with better qualifications than applicants with more standard European-sounding names. We know that even though people of color seek initial mental health treatment at the same rate as white people, they rarely go back for a second meeting, citing a lack of cultural competence among therapists. We know that we know that some Americans will not vote for a political candidate because of their gender, sexuality, or skin color. So I'm sorry if the name of a theory makes people uncomfortable. These statistics make me, as a researcher, uncomfortable. They make me wonder if the daily grind of academia is worth it. As we look at our society today, knowing that wealth disparities are getting wider, public trust in government and public trust in media are at their lowest points since we began measuring the data, I stand here, despite the celebration, struggling with, as you pointed out, exhaustion. This exhaustion oftentimes enters my classrooms. In fact, when my students grapple with the persisting inequities that plague our world, invariably, near the end of our time allotment, a palpable feeling of disconcerting helplessness will engulf the room. I often joke that I know class is over when we all feel a suffocating sense of existential dread. So why keep coming back? Why endure? Why continue experiencing this frustrating feeling of powerlessness decade after decade? It's you. I'm a big crier, so I might cry. It's you. It's you students, right? You bring me hope. Your ability to create, your ability to think critically, your ability to inspire. You see, while these feelings of despair, we're faced with one of life's rare binaries. We can either surrender, or we can hope. In the face of grave uncertainty, the only ethic that can inform a push forward is hope. Without hope, there is no purpose. So I keep returning to these same classrooms with different students, to these same feelings, with these same societal problems, not because it's easy, not because I have solutions, but because I have hope. Without you, students, I would not have that hope. You all do annoy me sometimes, but you do bring me hope. I'll close with one more thought. When I was in graduate school, it was a day after a particularly salient societal tragedy. I was in one of my more memorable moments of dejection. One of my mentors said something that stuck with me like few other quotes have in my life. He said, "The train of progress cannot be stopped. It can only be slowed." And importantly, I add, this train of progress does not move on its own. The boundaries of creative work do not move outward by themselves. Knowledge does not move forward on its own accord. Hope does not just simply endure. You students, you are the next creators, the next journalists, the next policymakers, the next researchers. You're the reason for my hope, and I think the plurality of our field poises you to move society forward unlike any other academic discipline. So this train of progress, you are the conductors. It will move forward at the speed that you choose. And despite my frustration with the pace of the progress thus far, I remain aboard and excited that you will soon be driving. That's it.
Why, thank you. That was very lovely. Our next honored speaker is Michael Milazzo. He is a graduate of Kean University's Communication Program, cum laude. He learned amongst Dr. Fitch and Dr. Sargent, who he still keeps in touch with today. Michael kept his fire burning. He attended Cornell Law School and graduated, and upon graduation, received a job at a law firm where he got to work in London for a while. Upon his return to the States, he worked at the largest law firm in the world by revenue. Today, Michael Milazzo is a partner at Latham & Watkins, where he is instrumental in private equity funds practice. Michael is also an avid scuba diver. He's spent time in the Caribbean. He has completed over 300 scuba dives, which I think is an accomplishment in itself. So cool. A lover of theater, he is a young patron to the Public Theater in New York City. You will most likely find him at the gym in the morning. He's joined here today with his family, Buddy and Martha, and his partner. Michael, we are honored for you to return to Kean today, our home, to speak to today's students. Welcome.
Thank you all. I remember sitting at this induction probably 12 or 13 years ago. Cannot remember if it was the spring of 2010 or spring of 2011. So first, congratulations to all of you. It is a great achievement. So I am still quite close with Professor Sargent and Professor Fitch. I do now call them Jack or Fred. It only took a decade for me to feel comfortable doing so. But I still am in contact with them. When they asked me earlier this year to come and speak here, I was excited. Because I don't know if you know anything about lawyers, but we like to talk. We often are saying nothing, but we like to talk. And we really like to talk about ourselves. So I could sit up here and talk for hours about how I first went to university at Rutgers, and I was academically dismissed. I could talk about how I was lost for several years. I went back to community college at Middlesex County College. How I ended up at Kean, went to Cornell Law School, worked at 3 great law firms. And I could talk about that all day, but that would shortchange the people that helped me get here. I started my new law firm about a month and a half ago, and I followed a mentor from my old law firm to my new firm. He's been a great, great incentive to keep on working, keep on doing good, and giving back. And I realized what this speech should be about is giving back. I have my mom and dad. I'm also a crier. My mom, Martha Gillen, my dad, Buddy Milazzo, are sitting in the audience today. And they have raised 4 boys. I am the oldest. The youngest is 5.5 years younger than I am. I don't know how either of you have any hair left. There were times where my relationship with them struggled, but they always supported me, and they always encouraged me, no matter how low I got. They were there to support me and ensure that I had love, I had support, and they gave back to me in every way they could. I remember being young and sometimes upset when I couldn't get time with them, because when I was young they had 2 jobs, I think sometimes even 3. And I realized it's not because they weren't there, not because they didn't love me, or my brothers. They were ensuring that we had a roof over our head, that we had food on our plates, and that we could play the sports and do the activities we want to do. And for that, they have given me so much, and I owe them. Really, I'm going to cry. But I really owe them for all that they have given me. They helped me get on my feet at Middlesex County College, but I was not yet confident in who I was. And then I started at Kane University. And I remember sitting in Dr. Sargent's office to get our schedules approved. And so he was advising me, and I said I was going to go to law school. And Dr. Fitch was walking by, and he said, "You plan on going to law school?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Where?" I said, "Anywhere, I don't really care." And Dr. Fitch said, "No." I said, "What do you mean, no?" He was like, "If you don't go to a top law school," he was like, "I'm shocked, because that's where you should be. That is where you want to go." And with that, I think it was might have been my first semester here, possibly second. With that, I started finding my feet. I started finding my confidence. Dr. Sargent encouraged me to give back to the communications department, and I did. I started volunteering at the public speaking lab, because public speaking is important. Before I started communication, my normal pace of speech is about this fast. This is how fast I normally talk, but I've learned that scares the hell out of people. So I've learned to carry myself and speak slowly in order to ensure that my words are heard and people are not running for the hills. And that giving back has followed me. Finding mentors and being people willing to give back has followed me through law school, where I worked for a professor, and he encouraged me to follow my dreams. And I actually went to a law firm that he first worked at before he was a professor, which is how I ended up where I did originally. This goes to my first law firm, where I found a mentor who I think is the best at what she does in the world. And she became my mentor because she once asked for something. I sent it to her within 2 minutes. She said, "You're not in my team. Why are you sending this to me?" And I said, "I saw the email. I thought you wanted, so I sent it." And she said, "You're my mentee now." And I said, "Okay." And giving back is what the point of the speech is, because we have to give back to our family, our friends, our communities, because that is what will help you achieve success and achieve personal fulfillment. And I am a strong believer that this is something I will always do, and I hope all of you sitting out there, the inductees and everyone else sitting in this room, strives to give back where they can. Some can do it with time, some can do it with emotion, some can do it with money, some can do it with simply a smile, but giving back is something that we should all be doing. And it's something that I will strive to continue to do, not only for Kane University, but to my family, my friends, my partner, and everyone else around me. Along those lines, I've decided I really want to give back to Kane, and I did not know what exactly I wanted to do. First, to the communications department at large, and then to the inductees here today. So to the inductees here today, I say congratulations. And after the event, for those who are being inducted today, I think there might be a student here who was previously inducted. So we're not being inducted today, but sitting here. If you see Dr. Sargent after everything is done, he will have a personal note for you, and I'm covering all of your dues for the communications induction. And so that will be within the personal note for you. And what I think is more important is that the people who supported me most getting here, I want them to have a legacy. I want other students to remember who they are. So I've been working with Michael Russo from the Kane Foundation. And hopefully, if everything works out and we can get everything done, but looks like it's going to be, starting in September, fall semester of 2024, there will be the Martha Gillen and Buddy Milazzo, or Buddy Milazzo and Martha Gillen. You two have to figure out who comes first. but there's going to be the Martha Gillen and Buddy Milazzo Endowment Scholarship in honor of Fred Fitch and Jack Sargent that will provide a communications student with approximately a 2-year scholarship, providing about a 20% of tuition will be going to the student in both the fall and spring semester. And this is a scholarship that, because of the endowment, should run, I think, in perpetuity. And so for all future communications students will know that Martha Gillen, Buddy Milazzo, Fred Fitch, and Jack Sargent had a profound effect on one of their students and their son. Thank you all. Congratulations.
Wow, that's what we like to hear, Michael. Thank you very much. It's very awesome, and I love that it's in the name of your parents and honoring Dr. Sargent and Dr. Fitch. Thank you for coming back to us. I'm going to introduce Dr. Allison Edgley. We are ready for our induction ceremony. We're going to call your names, and we would offer you the spot over there to join us on stage. You can receive your honors cords and pin and materials, and we will welcome applause and a photo for each recipient. So, Allison, Dr. Edge, come on up. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. I always wanted to say that. Come on up. I might get on The Price is Right. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Oh, okay, perfect. All right. So I do know that some of our inductees are not here today, but we're still going to say their name and clap for them. And those of you, as I say your name, just come on up. We have your certificate here. We also have your cords for graduation, and we have a nice pin for you to wear as well. So I'm going to start. Our first student isn't here, but just look alive, right? Because we're gonna start moving along. So our first student is Elaine Amico. She's actually one of our Kane Ocean students. Then we also have Caitlin Frank. And I don't believe Caitlin was able to be with us tonight, but all right, that's all right. We have Logan Germano. Oh, we got Logan, all right. Yes.
Thank you.
Ruth Green. Not sure if Ruth Green is here tonight. Let's see. Do we have Oscar Guevara? Oscar? No? Oh. Okay. Abel Jeffries. Oh, we do have Ruth. Yes, thank you. Perfect. Sorry, we did the RSVP, but you know, emails get lost in the sauce quite often. Okay, because you have yours. You have all your stuff. Yes. Thank you. How are you? How are you? We've got Oscar. Okay, and so I do know Abel was not going to be attending tonight. So next we have Delia Latini. Our next recipient is Francesca Marte. And she's not here. She's not here tonight. So next we have Giselle Mataron. all about the chords. All right, next we have Bahia Gabrielle Mormon. Next, our next recipient is Danielle Nigro. All right, next up, Philip Przezek. How'd I do, okay? All right, our next recipient is Lauren Robinson. Congrats. And last but not least, we have Kevin Woodworth. Yes, congrats. And congratulations again to all of our recipients. You get to wear those cords with pride at graduation, so we better see you there. I'm going to hand it back to Professor Atkins.
We know it has a conclusion. Thank you, Dr. Edgley. We have a stellar group here. We would like to ask this year's 2023 graduates to stand for a moment. Okay, yes. Woo! Congratulations on your upcoming graduation. We would also like to invite the students who just received their cords to also stand. We will see you in the fall. Woo! All students, Lauren. Okay, wait, I'm not done yet. Sorry. Okay, so congratulations, everyone. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Lambda Pi Eta committee. I'll cheers you all at 5 p.m. Dr. Allison Edgley, our resident philosopher and communication doer. She's collecting plastic bags if you need to hand them somewhere. Professor Suzanne Schwab, our public relations guru and expert. And Professor Gina Gilly, she's our media and Kane TV soul and the person we always go to when we know we need help because we know she knows how to do it. Additionally, I'd like to extend our gratitude for Margaret Walrand and Jennifer Brooks in our main offices of CMJ. I'd also like to take a minute to introduce some faculty. We have our new tenure track professor, Dr. Estelle Mee. Thank you, Estelle, for choosing Kane for your next adventure. We have Dr. Guitar. We have now our old-time family of faculty, including, but not limited to, Dr. Jack Sargent, Chair, Dr. Fred Fitch, Dr. Wenli Yuan, Dr. Scott McHugh, who's not here with us today, Professor Brian Oakes, Professor Patricia Winters-Loro, Professor K, Bill Kolpenschlag, Dr. Sally Wahab, Dr. Edge, Gina Gilly, And me, Catkins, your cruise director and personal CMJ cheerleader every day. Thanks for attending, folks. We ask that you stop by our reception, but before you do, we're inviting the students to the stage for a group shot, a group photo. There are some light refreshments to enjoy outside. I want to thank you. Take your time to come here with us today means so much to me and so much to the department. I appreciated receiving the words from our guest speakers, and I thank them for their attendance, and I thank you, Michael, for your generous donation. Travel safely. Get the good dinner. Cheers. And always remember the garden that you are. Breathe the oxygen of support, of catalysts around you. Be the mentor to someone new. Seek education and learning moments to promote an open-minded and loving community. But also keep that fire. But be careful for the latest wildfires in New Jersey. Don't start forest fires, but keep that fire and never, ever put out the spark that ignites you. Thank you, and let's party. Woo! We're inviting students up for pictures, please. I did. Yes. Michael, would you like to come up with the photo for the students too? Thank you.